Hello everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Ancient Mysteries. Today I am back. I'm going to continue where I left off. I believe I was talking about Chrysor in the last episode. Now this is where we start going deep. I mentioned a lot of stuff concerning ancient Greece, the Phoenicians, mostly about the Phoenicians and Greek. Mixed together, I was able to pull out some of the Indo-European stuff, but later on I'd like to come back to more of the Indo-European parts of it, but there was just so much information that I had on this stuff already that I actually, when I started doing the edit and pulling it all together today, I started at 3 p.m. and I just now finished 5 hours later. So I'm doing this late at night. It's 10:49. I started the stream right around 10:30. I had to jump off and get me some coffee, drink a cigarette, and use the bathroom so that I could come in here and do the episode. So I am back and I am ready to go. This is going to be a good one. I'll tell you that much. Well, it's going to be a good one if you're into ancient history like I am. I'll just put it to you this way. So with that being said, I am going to get back to, I'm going to just get to this, to the reading. Now I'm going to tell everybody I am sorry ahead of time because I really tear these words up when I read them out loud. When I read them on paper silently, it's perfectly fine. But the moment I have to read them out loud, it becomes a totally different subject altogether. So that goes to show what I've been saying about the difference between writing and linguistics. Okay, what you say and what you read and write are two different things. Or, you know what I'm saying? When you speak it out loud, it's two different things. So here we go. Okay. Malicious, meaning kindly or mild, is an epithet for Zeus, reflecting a specific aspect of the Greek god that is both benevolent and chthonic, connected to the underworld. This title reveals Zeus in a role distinct from his familiar Olympian identity as the ruler of the sky and heavens. Instead, Zeus Malicious is invoked in context related to purification, appeasement, and atonement, often associated with the earth, the dead, and the ancestral spirits. The concept of Zeus Malicious arises from ancient Greek religious practices that sought to reconcile the human experience of life, death, and the afterlife. The epithet Malicious highlights Zeus's capacity for mercy and kindness, but also his potential wrath when not properly honored. Zeus Malicious is often portrayed as a chthonic deity linked to the earth and the underworld, much like Hades or Pluto. He is invoked in rites seeking forgiveness for transgressions, purification after guilt, and protection from misfortune. His presence reflects the duality of divine forces, capable of both punishing and protecting, much like other Greek gods with dual roles, like Apollo as a healer and bringer of plague. In agricultural societies, Zeus Malicious was worshipped as a protector of the island and its fertility. Appeasing him ensured bountiful harvests, and the prosperity of the community. He was also linked to ancestral spirits. Manus in Roman tradition, and often honored at household altars or family tombs, emphasizing his role as a guardian of familial continuity. Unlike the typical Olympian Zeus, who is depicted as a regal and majestic figure, Zeus Malikius often takes on more symbolic forms. One of the most common depictions of Zeus Malikius is as a serpent, symbolizing his chthonic and protective aspects. Serpents in Greek culture were often seen as guardians of the home and symbols of renewal and fertility. Occasionally, he is shown as a bearded man holding symbols of abundance, such as a cornucopia, further connecting him to agricultural fertility and prosperity. The worship of Zeus Malikius was distinct from that of Zeus Olympius. His rituals often took place in local shrines, domestic altars, or open spaces rather than grand temples. As a chthonic deity, Zeus Malikius was honored with sacrifices of black animals, often sheep or bulls, whose blood was poured into the earth. Offerings of wine, honey, and milk were common, emphasizing his mild and nurturing aspects. Cakes and grains were symbolic offerings of the harvest, appealing to his role as a protector of agriculture. One notable festival dedicated to Zeus Malikius was the Diasia, celebrated in Athens. It was a rural festival where families made offerings to appease the gods and seek his blessing for prosperity and well-being. Zeus Malikius was also associated with justice, particularly in cases of personal or communal guilt. His role as an arbiter of justice tied to purification and atonement made him a central figure in legal and moral contexts. People swore oaths by Zeus Malikius to emphasize their sincerity and truthfulness, invoking his wrath if they lied. His chthonic nature made him a potent force in curses, particularly those aimed to ensure justice or avenging wrongs. Worship of Zeus Malikius often focused on Worship of Zeus Malikius often focused on averting misfortune. He was seen as a protector who could shield families and communities from plagues, famine, and other calamities, if properly appeased. The chthonic and benevolent aspects of Zeus Malikius allowed for syncretism with other deities, both within the outside Greek religion. Sharing the underworld association, Zeus Malikius sometimes merged with Hades in local cults. As a bringer of agricultural abundance, Zeus Malikius overlapped with Plutus, the god of wealth. In later periods, particularly during Hellenistic and Roman times, Zeus Malikius was sometimes identified with Serapis, a Greco-Egyptian deity embodying fertility, death, and renewal. In Greek philosophy, Zeus Malikius assembled the duality of divine forces in the cosmos. His capacity to both protect and punish reflected the balance of order and chaos in the universe. Zeus Malikius exemplified the necessity of divine mercy and the inevitability of divine justice. For philosophers like Plato and Aristotle, this duality was central to the understanding of God's relationship with humanity in the natural world. Though his worship was often localized, the legacy of Zeus Malicious endures as a representation of the nuanced relationship between humans and the divine. His dual nature reminds us of the balance between mercy and justice, abundance and scarcity, and life and death. This epithet of Zeus highlights the complexity of ancient Greek religion, where gods were not simply embodiments for singular traits, but dynamic figures reflecting the full spectrum of human and cosmic experience. Now, I've said it before, now, and it's always good to repeat this whenever I go over this stuff, because the synchronicity and all that, what they're talking about is the intermingling of religious beliefs and things of that nature. So different gods and different deities are merged into one to become another god on its own. So that's what they're talking about right there. So I was going to stop and point that out earlier, but I figured I would wait until I got past this part at a good point and say it before I do it. Now, after that, I want to go to the next part. The Gynos Autochton, which in Greek is earth-born race, refers to mythological beings or figures believed to have emerged directly from the earth itself, often embodying the spirits of craftsmen, inventions, or natural wisdom. Often embodying the spirit of craftsman, invention, or natural wisdom. In Greek mythology, the broader ancient traditions, figures such as Technites, the craftsman, and artificer, that's a tough word, are central to this theme, representing the primal and innate human capacity for creation and ingenuity. The term Technites translates to craftsman or artisan and refers to a figure or archetype embodying the skill of manual creation and technical ingenuity. Technites is often depicted as an archetype figure who first brought the knowledge of crafting tools, building structures, or creating art to humanity. As an autochthonous being, Technites symbolize the innate human capacity to harness the natural world for survival and progress. Born directly from the earth with the skills needed for civilization. Technites is credited for the creation of tools, weapons, and devices essential for early human survival. Beyond practicality, Technites represent the beauty of craftsmanship from the sculpting and pottery to weaving and metalworking. Technites serve as a cultural hero, teaching humanity the techniques of craftsmanship and artistry, often associated with gods like Hephaestus or Athena in Greek mythology. The term artificer refers to a master craftsman or skilled worker, closely related to the concept of teknites, but with a broader focus on innovation and creativity. Artificers are often portrayed as figures who bridge the gap between mortals and gods by creating divine-like objects or tools. They might craft weapons for heroes or magical artifacts for deities. In Greek tradition, Hephaestus, the god of fire and the forge, is the divine artificer. However, mortal figures like Daedalus, the builder of the labyrinth, also embody this archetype. Artificers create objects that can be used for both good and ill, reflecting the ambivalent power of technology and craftsmanship. Artificers symbolize humanity's ability to transform raw natural materials into tools, art, and structures. The genus Autochthon encompasses beings or figures believed to have originated directly from the earth without divine parentage or mortal lineage. They are tied to the land and its primal forces, often depicted as embodying raw and potential and innovation. The earthborn beings they possess an inherent connection to the natural world and its mysteries. Their skills are not learned but intrinsic, arising from their origin in the earth. Often tasks with the development of civilization or the protection of sacred spaces. Agrius and Helios, in some accounts, represent shepherding and fishing, symbolizing humanity's first forays into managing and utilizing natural resources. Teknites and artificers, as creators and builders, bring forth the tools and techniques necessary for civilization. In Greek mythology, the concept of autochthony, Autochthony, often emphasizes the deep ties between a people and their land. Many city-states like Athens claim autochthony origins, linking their inhabitants to mythical figures who sprang from the earth. Hephaestus embodies the ultimate teknites, crafting objects of unparalleled beauty and utility, such as Achilles' shield and Pandora, the first woman. So let me read that again. Hephaestus embodies the ultimate teknites, crafting objects of unparalleled beauty and utility, such as Achilles' shield and Pandora, the first woman. Daedalus, the legendary inventor and craftsman, built the labyrinth for King Minos and created wings to escape Crete, exemplifying the duality of creation and destruction. Figures like Cecrops, the serpent-bodied first king of Athens, and Euryctonius, another earthborn king, demonstrate the connection between the land and its ruler, who often embodied qualities of ingenuity and resourcefulness. The archetypes of teknites and artificers can be seen as metaphors for human progress. the creation of tools and structures marks the evolution of humanity from a primal state to civilization. The duality of creation highlights the ethical dimensions of technology and artistic innovation. The genus autochthon represents humanity's intrinsic potential, emphasizing that the capacity for creation, innovation, and survival is innate, much like their mythological ancestors. The archetypes of Teknites and Artificer resonate in modern narratives about inventors, innovators, and artists, from Leonardo DiCaprio to fictional characters like Tony Stark from Iron Man. The figures of Teknites, Artificer, and the genus autochthon or autochthon reflect the ancient belief in humanity's innate connection to the earth and its resources. These archetypes celebrate the transformative powers of craftsmanship and innovation, while acknowledging the responsibilities and ethical challenges that come with creation. As mythological symbols, they continue to inspire narratives of ingenuity, progress, and the enduring relationship between humanity and the natural world. Agros, Agueros, and Agrotis are figures with deep mythological, agricultural, and possibly symbolic roots, often associated with early human connections to the land, farming, and pastoral life. Their origins are linked to ancient cultures, where these figures represent the cultivation of the earth, seasonal cycles, and the nurturing relationship between humanity and nature. The name Agros derives from the Proto-Indo-European root H2 which relates to cultivated land, fields, or open spaces. This term evolved into the Greek word agros or agros, meaning field or farm. In Greek culture, agros symbolizes the fertile land and the life-sustaining relationship between humans and the earth. Agros may have been personified as a deity or spirit associated with the cultivation of crops and the cycles of planting and harvest. In ancient Greek and Roman mythology, the field itself was sacred, often tied to gods like Demeter, goddess of agriculture, and Triptolemus, her emissary who taught humanity farming. The concept of agros emphasizes humanity's dependence on agriculture for survival and prosperity. Fields were viewed as not just economic resources, but also sacred spaces tied to divine favor and cosmic harmony. The name Agueros and Agrotis appear in some traditions as mythological figures or symbolic representations of agricultural life. Agueros may derive from the same root as agros, with a focus on the active process of working the land. The name suggests a connection to the physical act of farming and tending fields. In some accounts, Agueros is described as a culture hero, someone who brought knowledge of farming, plowing, or irrigation to early human communities. Agrotis translates to farmer or peasant and is more direct representation and is a more direct representative of agricultural workers. In mythological contexts, Agrotus is sometimes personified as a rustic deity or a symbol of the humble yet vital role of farmers in sustaining civilization. Agrotus is occasionally linked to fertility rites, seasonal festivals, or agricultural ceremonies that honor the earth's bounty. As a figure, Agrotus may represent the idolized pastoral life, emphasizing simplicity, hard work, and harmony with nature. Agrotus and agreros are associated with rustic and agrarian traditions. Agrotus is depicted as one of the Kabiri, a group of ancient deities or spirits connected to fertility, agriculture, and the mysteries of the earth. These figures are often tied to the worship of El, the chief deity of the Phoenician pantheon, and represent foundational aspects of human civilization. Both names are associated with early human advancement, such as the domestication of plants and animals, the establishment of farming practices, and the veneration of the earth as a sacred source of life. They symbolize the transition from nomadic lifestyle to settled agricultural societies, a critical step in human history. These figures embody the vital role of agriculture in human development, serving as symbols of sustenance, stability, and growth. Their stories highlight the sacred relationship between humanity and the earth, emphasizing respect for nature's cycles and the need for balance. Agreros, and agrotus often appear in contexts that blend the practical and the spiritual, representing both the hard work of farming and the divine blessing required for a successful harvest. They are linked to fertility rituals, offerings of agricultural deities, and festivals celebrating the harvest. These figures remind us of the balance between labor and reward, effort and sustenance, reflecting the broader themes of harmony in ancient mythologies. Many modern harvest festivals trace their roots to ancient rituals honoring figures like Agrotus. These names echo through myths that emphasize the sacred nature of the earth and the interconnectedness of life. As archetypes, these figures remind us of the fundamental importance of agriculture in shaping human history and culture. Amanus and Magus are figures that appear in fragments of ancient tradition, often tied to mythological, cultural, and possibly allegorical narratives. While their specific details are not universally agreed upon due to the fragmented nature of their mentions, they have associations that reflect the values and beliefs of ancient civilizations. The name Amanus derives from the Greek root amen, meaning to defend or to ward off. It is connected to the idea of protection, defense, or resistance. In ancient Greek, the word Amanus could be associated with guardianship, a defender of a city, or even a deity invoked for protection. Amanus may have been a minor protective deity or hero in ancient Greek mythology, associated with safeguarding people or places from harm. He could symbolize the act of resistance against chaos, aligning him with other figures who embody order and defense in mythological contexts. Amunis might have been venerated in a local cult or tradition, particularly in contexts emphasizing the protection of the polis, the city-state, or individuals from external threats. Protective rituals, offerings, or dedications may have been made in his name, reflecting a desire for safety and stability. The term magus, plural magi, has its origins in the Old Persian word magus, which refers to a member of the priesthood class within the Zoroastrian tradition. In the Greek context, magus came to denote a wise man, astrologer, or magician, often with connotations of mystical and esoteric knowledge. The Magi were priests in ancient Persia responsible for performing religious rites, interpreting omens, and serving as advisors to rulers. They were deeply associated with the worship of Ahura Mazda in Zoroastrianism. In Greek and Roman traditions, magus evolved into a term from someone skilled in magical arts, often viewed with both fascination and suspicion. In later Christian tradition, the Magi were identified as the wise men, or three kings who visited the infant Jesus, further embedding the term into Western religious narratives. The figure of magus represents the pursuit of knowledge, both spiritual and practical. This includes an understanding of natural phenomena, celestial movement, and divine mysteries. In mythological or allegorical contexts, magus often symbolizes enlightenment, transformation, and the bridging of the human and divine realms. While Amunis and magus may seem to represent distinct concepts, defense and wise, they can be linked through their symbolic roles. Amunis, as a defender, could represent the protection of knowledge, traditions, or sacred spaces, while magus embodies the wisdom needed to guide and sustain those traditions. Ancient leaders often needed to be both protectors, like Amunis, and wise counselors, like magus, suggesting these figures might represent complementary qualities of ideal rulership or heroism. Both figures could be invoked by rituals, Amunis for physical or spiritual protection, and magus for insight, divination, or connection to the divine. Amunis could have been a local or lesser known deity, hero, or guardian figure invoked for protection against invaders, disasters, or malevolent forces. Magus, as a title or archetype, reflects the ancient fascination with wisdom, astrology, and the metaphysical. His presence in stories or rituals emphasizes the importance of understanding the cosmos and humanity's place within it. Although largely obscure, Amunis's name survives as a symbol of defense and resilience. It aligns with broader themes of mythology where heroes or deities protect the vulnerable. The concept of the magus has endured through history, influencing depictions of wise men, sorcerers, and astrologers in literature, religion, and popular culture. The term remains evocative of mysticism and the pursuit of knowledge. Aminus and Magus, while distinct in their origins and roles, reflect universal themes of mythology, the need for protection, and the quest for wisdom. Aminos embodies resilience and guardianship, while Magus represents the transformative power of knowledge and insight. Together they symbolize complementary forces that safeguard and enlighten humanity, making their stories and roles enduringly relevant. Mysore and Sudik are figures mentioned in the works of Sanchuniathon, an ancient Phoenician historian whose writings survive only in fragments through later Greek translations, particularly by Philo of Byblos. These figures are part of a larger mythological and theological framework that reflects the cosmology and religious tradition of the ancient Near East, particularly those of Phoenician culture. The name Misr, sometimes rendered as Mysore, is believed to derive from a Semitic root meaning upright, just, or lawful. This aligns with his characterization as a figure embodying order and justice. Mysore is depicted as the progenitor or symbol of justice and order in the cosmological system described by Sanchuniathon. In the Phoenician tradition, he represents the principles of lawfulness and righteousness, a contrast to chaos and disorder. His offspring, according to Sanchuniathon, contribute to the development of civilization by introducing important cultural practices and techniques. Mysore may symbolize the foundation of structured society with laws and ethical practices that guide human behavior. He reflects the broader Near Eastern emphasis on cosmic and societal balance, often maintained by deities or figures associated with justice. The name Sudik or Siddiq, spelled S-Y-D-Y-K instead of S-U-D-U-K, the way I've been reading it, is derived from the Semitic root S, D, and Q, which means righteousness or truth. This name aligns with his role as a personification or deity of justice and truth. Sudik is often linked with Mysore as a complementary figure. Together they embody the dual principles of justice, Mysore, and truth, Sudik. In some interpretations, Sudik is associated with the divine judgment or the enforcement of cosmic and moral order. He is also connected to celestial phenomena, particularly the stars or constellations, which ancient cultures often viewed as manifestation of divine order. In Phoenician tradition, Siddiq is revered as a deity of righteousness and was sometimes linked to Melkort, a god of the city of Tyre, who also embodied kingship and order. The figure of Sudik or Siddiq may have influenced later theological concepts, including those in the Abrahamic religions, where righteousness and truth are central divine attributes. Mysore and Sudik are significant not only as mythological figures, but also as representations of universal principles in ancient thought. Their narrative serves to explain the origins of justice, law, and truth as divine or cosmological forces essential for the harmony of society and the universe. According to Sanachuniathon, the offspring of Mysore and Sudik played crucial roles in the development of human civilization. Mysore is said to have followed Toatis, or Thoth, who invented writing and is associated with wisdom and knowledge in Egyptian and Greek traditions. These descendants reflect the transmission of divine principles to humanity, allowing for cultural and technological advancement. Mysore symbolizes justice as the structure or framework that maintains societal order. Sudik represents truth as the moral and ethical foundation of that structure. Together they embody the interconnectedness of law and morality, emphasizing that one cannot exist without the other. Like many ancient mythological figures, Mysore and Sudik are tied to celestial phenomena, suggesting that justice and truth are eternal, and universal principles reflected in the heavens. The story of Mysore and Sudik highlights the Phoenician view of the divine as intimately involved in the establishment and maintenance of civilization. The principle of justice and truth are central to the cosmologies of Mesopotamian, Canaanite, and Egyptian religions, where deities like Marduk, Ma'at, and Shamash serve similar roles. Greek and Roman interpretations of justice, dike and justitia, may have been influenced by earlier Near Eastern concepts embodied by figures like Mysore and Sudik. The Semitic root of these figures resonate in the Hebrew Bible, where righteousness, tzedek, and truth, emet, are key attributes of the divine. Mysore and Sudik serve as archetypal. They switched it up on me, didn't they? Serve as archetypal figures embodying the principles of justice and truth. Their narrative underscores the importance of these values in ancient Phoenician thought and their role in shaping human civilization. By linking these principles to divine origins, the Phoenicians affirmed their universality and eternal relevance, a legacy that continues to influence religious and philosophical traditions today. In Phoenician theology, as preserved through the works of Sanachuniathon, Toatis, sometimes rendered as Tuathos or Thoth or Toth in later interpretations, or Toth, is a significant figure credited with introducing foundational elements of civilization. He is portrayed as a divine or semi-divine figure who contributes to humanity's advancements by imparting knowledge and culture. Now, Toatis is described as the son of Mysore, who represents justice or lawfulness in the cosmological system outlined by Sanachuniathon. Mysore himself is a progenitor figure in Phoenician mythology, symbolizing the ordered principles necessary for civilization. Toatis is most famously credited with the invention of writing. This act is seen as a divine gift to humanity, enabling the preservation of knowledge, communication, and the codification of laws and traditions. Writing in this context is not merely a practical tool, but a sacred act that bridges the mortal and divine realms. Beyond writing, Tawadis is associated with other advancements that contribute to societal development. He is a teacher figure, imparting wisdom and practical skills necessary for civilizations to flourish. In some interpretations, he is seen as the originator of symbolic representations, including letters, hieroglyphs, and other forms of recording sacred knowledge. Tawadis is the embodiment of wisdom and intellectual advancement. His contributions are considered essential for the transition from primitive existence to an organized society capable of moral and cultural progress. The introduction of writing by Tawadis also symbolizes the ability to transmit divine laws and ethical principles, ensuring their continuity across generations. Okay, so what do we got here? Writing is as introduced by Tawadis, is imbued with a mystical quality. Letters and symbols are seen as more than tools. They are carriers of divine truths and cosmic order. This view reflects the Phoenicians' reverence for language and communication as sacred arts. Tawadis is often associated with the priestly class in Phoenician society, who were the custodians of sacred knowledge and ritual practices. Okay. As I'm having issues with my internet, it keeps going up and down on me, so I do not know exactly what is happening on my live stream, or on my OBS. It says my kilobytes is dropping and going up, so gotta excuse me. So let me. Okay, now while I'm taking a break, I can see your comment, Sonia. And thank you for the comment. I appreciate it. Okay, now hopefully this is going good. Okay, so Tawadis is often associated with the priestly class in Phoenician society, who were the custodians of sacred knowledge and ritual practices. As the inventor of writing, Tawadis enabled priests to record and transmit religious rites, prayers, and cosmological teachings. In Phoenician theology, Tawadis's role in introducing writing ties him to the concept of cosmic order. Writing allows humanity to align itself with divine principle and maintain harmony within the universe. The Phoenicians, known for their seafaring and trade, were also pioneers in the development of the alphabet. Tawadis's mythological role as the inventor of writing underscores the importance of literacy and communication in Phoenician culture. The Phoenician alphabet, derived from earlier forms of writing, became a fundamental script that influenced many subsequent writing systems, including Greek and Latin. Tawadis's association with the sacred knowledge underscores the connection between literacy and religious practice in Phoenician society. Writing was used to inscribe prayers, record temple rituals, and document divine laws. Tawadis is part of a broader pantheon that includes figures like El, the supreme god, and Baal, a storm and fertility deity. His role complements theirs by focusing on the intellectual and cultural aspects of divine influence, while deities like El and Baal govern natural and cosmic forces. Teotihuacan represents the intellectual and creative dimensions of human interaction with the divine. Unlike warriors or kingly figures in Phoenician mythology, Teotihuacan is a bringer of knowledge rather than a conqueror or ruler. His contributions are peaceful, intellectual, emphasizing the civilizing power of wisdom. Teotihuacan's contributions to writing and knowledge reflects the Phoenician emphasis on literacy, trade, and communication. These qualities were essential for their success as a maritime power and cultural bridge between different civilizations. The sacred nature of writing, as attributed to Teotihuacan, reinforces the idea that the Phoenicians viewed their alphabet as a divine gift and a cornerstone in their identity. While Teotihuacan is specific to Phoenician theology, his association with writing and wisdom has parallels in other ancient traditions. However, within the Phoenician context, he remains a uniquely intellectual and civilized figure. In Phoenician theology, Teotihuacan is a pivotal figure who represents the intellectual and cultural achievements of humanity, particularly the invention of writing. His contributions underscore the sacred nature of knowledge and its role in maintaining cosmic and societal order. Now, after Teotihuacan, now let me also remind you guys. Now, this is Thoth. This is Thoth. A lot of you guys who talk with me and know all the stuff that I do concerning my channel about the wonderful world of weirdness and everything there, know about the emerald tablets and all of this stuff. This is the same guy. Okay, so from my research and what I found out, Teotihuacan was the first name of Thoth or Thoth or Thoth or however you pronounce it. That his name was actually Teotihuacan, and he originally came from the Phoenicians and the I'm sitting here, the Canaanites, religions and stuff of that nature. And then eventually he made it into the Greek philosophy as well as into the Egyptians. And when I first started doing research on this stuff, I wasn't aware of that. I was actually way off about it, and I didn't realize that I was. But now, after doing this for quite a while, I finally realized that it is. Me and Karma discussed it last year on the Praetorian when I was doing ancient history with her, and it's in the previous episodes that are being put on the wonderful world of weirdness, and it's pretty good. It's a pretty good thing. We had some issues with audio and stuff of that nature because that was back when we were first starting out, but we covered a lot of good stuff. So I just wanted to point that out and make everybody aware of that the previous episodes are being posted. This is a more in-depth analysis of what we were discussing before, because like I said last year, we kind of went off rail, or we went off topic basically, and I wanted to kind of go over this stuff. I'm almost through revisions, and it's like I said, I've got tons of good stuff. This stuff is getting a lot better. Now, I want to continue going, but I don't know if I should, to be honest, because like this is where I probably could end up keep on reading, and just this could be the point of no return. I've covered Tawadas. Now I'm going to go through Dioscuri and Caballari and Corabantes. Now this is some interesting stuff right here. So yeah, I should probably go through this. But here we go. The Dioscuri, Caballari, Corabantes, and Samothraces are all groups of divine or semi-divine figures from ancient mythology, often associated with mystery cults, protective roles, and rites connected to fertility, initiation, and protection. Each group is distinct but shares thematic overlaps in their religious and cultural functions. The Dioscuri, Castor and Pollux, are twin brothers from Greek and Roman mythology, celebrated as patrons of sailors, warriors, and protectors of humanity. They are sons of Leda, with their fatherhood attributed to Zeus, Pollux, and Tyndareus, Castor, resulting in their mixed mortal-immortal nature. The Dioscuri are emblematic of brotherly love and devotion. When Castor, the moral twin, dies, Pollux, the immortal, shares his immortality, allowing them to alternate between the heavens and the underworld. They are associated with St. Elmo's fire, a weather phenomenon seen as their sign of protection during the storms. Worshipped as protectors in battle, they were venerated by Spartan and Roman soldiers. The Dioscuri had widespread cults across the Mediterranean. Their temples, such as the Temple of Castor and Pollux in Rome, serve as places of worship and symbols of unity. Caballari or Cabaroi are enigmatic deities or spirits associated with the islands of Samothrace, Lemnos, and Imbros, as well as the cult of the great gods of Samothrace. They are often linked with the mystery religions of the Aegean and Asia Minor. This is where the words start getting hard. The Caballari were central to the initiation rites of the Samothracian mysteries, which promised initiates protection at sea and possibly in the afterlife. The Caballari were seen as protectors of seafarers and associated with the underworld, fertility, and the forging of metals. The Caballari are sometimes described as the father and son duo, who, as a larger group, with connections to Hephaestus, god of fire and craftsmanship. The rites of the Caballari are secretive and likely involved initiation, purification, and veneration of fire and fertility symbols. Their sanctuary on Samothrace was a major religious site. The Corabantes are ecstatic dancers and attendants of the goddess Cybele or Sibyl. Magna Marta and her consort Attis. So the Corabantes are ecstatic dancers and attendants of the goddess Cybele, which is Magna Marta. or Mater, and her consort Attis. They are often portrayed as wild and frenzied celebrants, known for their rhythmic dances and clashing cymbals. The Corybantes are famous for their energetic dances and music, which were integral to Cybele's cult. In some myths, they protect the infant Zeus from his father Kronos by drowning out his cries with their clamor. Their rituals are linked to the renewal of life, often involving themes of death and rebirth, mirroring the story of Attis. The Corybantes played a role in the dissemination of the Sibyl cult throughout the Mediterranean. Their rituals, though wild, had a structured purpose, serving as a form of catharsis and spiritual renewal for participants. The Samothraces, or the great gods, were worshipped on the island of Samothrace, particularly at the sanctuary of the great gods, one of the most important religious centers of the ancient world. The exact identities of the deities remain mysterious, but they were closely associated with protection, especially for sailors. Samothracian mysteries were open to all, unlike the exclusive Eleusinian mysteries, and promised initiate safety at sea and possibly in the afterlife. The gods of Samothrace were connected to both the underworld and the sea, reflecting their dual role as protectors and guarantors of safe passage. The mythology of the great gods often include themes of sacred marriage, symbolizing cosmic harmony and fertility. Initiates underwent purification rituals and received secret teachings. The exact nature of these teachings remain unknown due to the secrecy surrounding the mysteries. The Corybantes' wild dances and music resembled the ritualistic ecstasy associated with the Cabiri and the Samothracian mysteries. The Dioscuri, Cabiri, and Samothracian deities all served as protectors, particularly for sailors and those in peril. Themes of fertility, life, death, and rebirth are common among these groups, reflecting the agricultural and seasonal cycles central to the ancient religious thought. The Cabiri and the Samothracian great gods are both central figures in mystery religions, emphasizing initiation, purification, and esoteric knowledge. The Dioscuri, Cabiri, that's hard to Cabiri, that's hard to spell or pronounce. Caberi. The Corybantes and Samothracian great gods are deeply intertwined with ancient Mediterranean religious traditions. They reflect humanity's need for protection, renewal, and understanding of the divine. Each group serves distinct but overlapping roles in fostering community spiritual growth and the promise of safety and renewal in both life and death. Their myths and rituals provide insight into the complexity of richness of ancient religious practices. The Dioscuri, Cabiri, the Corybantes, and Samothraces represent distinct yet interconnected mythological figures and cult groups in ancient Mediterranean and Near Eastern traditions. They share themes of protection, fertility, initiation, and cosmic harmony, but each group has unique characteristics and cultural significance. The Dioscuri, Castor, and Pollux, Polydeuces, in other words, are twin brothers from Greek and Roman mythology. They are the sons of Leda and either Zeus, who is Pollux, or Tyndareus, who is Castor, resulting in one being immortal, which is Pollux, and the other mortal, which is Castor. They symbolize loyalty and mutual sacrifice. Pollux shares his immortality with Castor, allowing them to alternate between Olympus and the underworld. Associated with sailors, they are invoked for safe passages at sea, or passage at sea, and in battles. They are represented as the celestial. They are represented as the constellation Gemini. The Dioscuri were worshipped in temples, particularly in Sparta and Rome. Their festivals often involve equestrian contests, emphasizing their martial and protective roles. The Cebiaries, or Cabaroi, are enigmatic deities or spirits worshipped primarily on the island of Samothrace, Lemnos, and Imbros. They are often associated with metallurgy, fertility, and mystery cults. Central to the Samothracian, there we go, I finally got it back, Samothracian mysteries, their worship involved secretive rites, promising protection at sea and spiritual enlightenment. They are linked to Hephaestus, the god of fire and craftsmanship, and represents chthonic, which is underworld powers. Chthonic powers. They are protectors of the land's fertility and human reproduction. The Cebraries cult, or Cabaris cult, were widespread but centered in sanctuaries like the one in Samothrace. Their rituals included initiation, purification, and possibly the use of fire in symbolic acts. The Corybantes are ecstatic dancers and attendants of the Phrygian goddess Cybele, which is Magna Mater. They are often confused with similar groups like the Sorites and Dactyls, known for their frenzied dancings, clashing cymbals, and wild music, which were thought to induce states of divine passion. In some myths, they guard the infant Zeus, drowning out his cries with their noise to prevent Kronos from finding him. Their dances and rituals symbolize the renewal of life and fertility. The Corybantes were integral in the Cybele cult, which spread throughout the Mediterranean. Their rites were known for their intense physicality and emotional release, offering catharsis to participants. The great gods of Samothrace were deities worshipped on the island of Samothrace, particularly at the sanctuary of the great gods. Their precise identities remain unclear, but they were closely tied to the Siberian and maritime protection. Mystery religion cults promised initiates protection at sea and spiritual salvation. The rites were open to all, including slaves. Chthonic and maritime powers were associated with both the underworld and the sea, reflecting their dual protective roles. Some myths describe a sacred union among the gods, symbolizing cosmic harmony and fertility. The Samothracian mysteries were a significant religious movement in antiquity, attracting pilgrims from across the Mediterranean. The sanctuary was a center for initiation involving purification rituals and secret teachings. So the Dioscuri safeguard sailors and warriors. The Cabareri and the Samothracian gods protect seafarers and initiates. The Corybantes, as guardians of Zeus, protect divine order. The Cabiri and Samothracian gods are central to mystery religions, and the Corybantes' ecstatic rituals can be seen as initiatory experiences. The Cabiri, and Samothracian gods are linked to the underworld and fertility. The Corybantes' rituals emphasize life's renewal. The Corybantes' frenzy dances paralleled the secretive rites of the Siberi and Samothracian gods. Here we go. Now this is probably where I should probably stop, because I want to do this later on. It's Epigeus and Autochthon. Now this is some good stuff. This is like Epigees, if you guys ever heard the term Epigees. I know that we got people who really talk about that a lot. Jaffe's one of them who likes to talk about root words and what they symbolize and things of that nature. And this is actually the part where we start getting into a lot more of that. We've covered some of it, and I wanted to get through the basics and start covering like the parts in here that are root words, where a lot of these deities come from, and the nature, fertility. If you notice, they were talking a lot about fertility rites, things of that nature, and agriculture. I wanted to get into the agriculture part of it, because a lot of people in today's world forget the basics, like the fact that the calendar in the first place was set up according to the harvest and according to agriculture, and bringing in a good crop and being able to plant seeds at the right time of the year, things of that nature. That's where it all started, so it's good that I got through that. I was able to get into more of the Indo-European. I think I only had one, but I do want to go back over it and kind of go over and pull out some of the words that are related to Indo-European languages. Maybe cover that too, but I don't know if I will within the year, because this is actually a lot of information that I pulled. I didn't think it was going to be this much, to be honest with you, but I'm not I'm not bitching about it because, like I said, I love history. I love reading about it. Like, I have to be careful if I wanna read more. I would end up being here for about 2.5, 3 hours just reading this stuff. That's how carried away I get about it. I really do like this kind of stuff. It's what keeps me going when it comes to reading and learning about stuff. I just love, especially ancient history. So let me see how far up I am on my notes. I'm still scrolling. I'm pretty sure I've got the right episode. No, I got the wrong episode. I was almost positive this was episode 13, but apparently it's episode 16. So my next episode is going to be episode 17, which I usually don't like saying on stream in the middle of the show, but I'll let it slide this time. So let me go in here and I'll check and see if I have any more comments. Sonia Galactic left her message. She said that ladies love the voice. You know it. They just love this voice. It drives them mad. Keeps them coming back. And I do not have any comments from Kick, which is fine. I have 7 views off of X. Thank you guys for watching on X. Twitch, I have 1 viewer. And I do appreciate everybody who have followed me on Twitch too. I appreciate that a lot. So I've been trying to get people on there to at least, I'm supposed to have like this thing where 3 or 5 3 people are supposed to get on there and chat together some ridiculous tasks they want you to do, and that seems to be like the hardest thing you can do on that channel, is get 3 people into the actual chat to talk. At least that's my experience. So we have 6 people who are concurrent viewers on YouTube. Sonia has given a comment. Thank you, Sonia. And we have 112 views. I appreciate the views on there, guys. I hope you guys did enjoy this. If you did, do me a favor, man. Hit like, subscribe, and all that good jive. But most important, freaking leave a comment, because in the comment section of the video down below, man, I love talking to people in the comment section. Ask Sonya, she'll tell you the same thing. I'll get on shows, man, and I'll just sit there in the middle of the comment section and just talk forever, because I like doing it. So if you guys want to help me out, do that. Also on Rumble, click the link, man, and watch it. You know what I mean? Because that's actually the only place where people who are content creators can start straight out and start earning. So that link right there is what freaking helps people freaking earn something on Rumble. So not just me, but anybody, man. Click that link, help the brother out. You can't say that about YouTube or Kick or any of the other ones, but you can say it about Rumble. You can't even say that about X, so remember that. And with that, I am going to shut up, and I'm going to end this stream, because I have hit an hour and 18 minutes, which means that I have done what I'm supposed, an hour and 18 minutes of recording. So I've done what I'm supposed to do. So I've got an hour and 42 minutes of live stream according to my OBS, and according to Rumble, I have been streaming for an hour and 38 minutes. So I am going to end this, and I am going to check to see if everything came out great. I do want to mention that this is my second time using Rumble Studios. It's kind of interesting. I'm not going to say it's great. I'm not going to say it's bad, but it's interesting. I'm gonna keep using it and see how it works out. So, and believe it or not, after the show, my background video for Ancient Mysteries is finally finished uploading on there. I can go ahead and put that on there and let you guys look at it maybe, but first I gotta put the name on it and then save it. Ancient Mysteries. Yeah. And then have the video loop and save the library and then create the video. So let me switch this over. And that's what it looks like. Right there. So we have liftoff. That is my background video for Ancient Mysteries. So the only bad part about it is nobody on YouTube gets to see it, guys. I apologize about that, but you guys have a better one, in my opinion. I made that slideshow on my own, so that's my creation. I did that and I love it. Well, they're both my creations, but that one is one that I really like the most. It's my slideshow, which I have that on both of them, but it's good. With that, I am going to end the show, and thank you guys for watching.